I'm your astrologer, back with messages for the week of June 23rd, which might finally bring us a little bit of relief as we have a beautiful, blessed new moon that can show up for us somewhere in our lives if we're ready to make the big changes. So of course we're going to break that all down. And if you've been following me, you know that we've been having very intense energy. If not, click on that subscribe button now. That way you'll get notification whenever I post new content, which of course is every weekend and daily if you follow me on any of the YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, all of the things where I post a daily tarot message that, of course, I also sprinkle in a bit of astrology because I can't help myself. So it's a great way for you to stay in touch with me and in tune with the energy so you're best prepared for the day ahead. So thank you to those who already follow me there and like and comment and share my work. I really appreciate you. So you also want to go out to my website, maraleeburnett.com. That way you have access to everything that I create and post, including all of my written content, which is out there for the month of July, which, believe it or not, we're almost there. Another month is flying by. And in all of my monthly horoscopes, I include the article for the new moon and full moon. So you can go out there and access those for July, August, and September. And I am almost done and ready to post for October. We are just flying along. But that September one, once that gets posted, has the eclipse energy. We're already in the throes of it. So you definitely want to be prepared, especially for the new moon solar eclipse that happens in the sign of Virgo at 29 degrees of Virgo. That one is going to be intense. Okay. So today we're just going to focus on the week ahead and break it all down by every sign. And of course, you want to watch for your sun, moon, and rising when we get to that new moon section so that you are prepared for what you want to focus on and create those new beginnings instead of just waiting for things to show up for you. So let us get started, of course, here with my Astro Gold software for Monday, which is June 23rd. And again, if you've been following me, last week I mentioned that you had a mission from God. A finger of God was pointing at you. And for those of you that have this 3 degrees of this Aquarius energy, or this Cancer energy, or this Virgo energy, maybe even this Aries energy, you may have been feeling something very intensely calling your name and asking you to take on this mission that will create tremendous change and transformation in your life. Some may not notice anything, right? This Pluto energy is psychological in nature. It can be very subtle and beneath the surface, but it's also very powerful. This need to fit in, this need to belong, this need to create change. And that continues with us on Monday. And Monday, in fact, it's even stronger because everything's sitting at 3, right? The number 3 in numerology is about the creator. It's about our creativity. And so there's something calling to us at this time. Again, even stronger on Monday because everything's exactly at 3 degrees plus the sun, right? So the exact points are Jupiter and the sun in Cancer, speaking in a sextile to Mars. So this is what motivates us to grow and change, what expands our need for security. There's something that we need to take action on, but that action is slow and purposeful now that Mars has moved into the sign of Virgo. It can be very health oriented because of the energy associated with the sign of Virgo. There can be a big desire to control the home and family that you're a part of or where you live. All of that speaks in this in conjunct back here to Pluto in Aquarius in retrograde. So something from the past, a group you belong to in the past maybe, is connecting with you again. And through that group, you're going to create great change through the internet, through ingenuity, right? Through connection. So Are you being called? If so, you want to show up and you want to respond. It's important work that you're being called to do. Now, it's moved on, but we actually even had another yod, which I didn't even talk about last week, that involved this Mars energy as it was just moving into the sign of Virgo, and it was speaking in conjunct again to this Saturn energy, and it was a little wide to Pluto, but the reason I bring it up today is because still there's something about this Mars energy where we're feeling a deep desire to connect even to Mother Earth, right? There's this connection that's very natural, a connection to nature in general. And we need to slow down and be grounded in our responses to whatever has been triggering us, especially our emotions, right? With Jupiter and the Sun both in the sign of Cancer, highlighting our feelings, highlighting families, highlighting mothers, highlighting our intuition, right? That's the Sun's the highlight part. Sun shows us where we can achieve success. Jupiter expands on our success, right? Jupiter is a benefic planet, so there can be some really good positive changes coming in, but it is change because we still have the square back here to Saturn and Neptune in the sign of Aries. Of course, Aries represents the south. Saturn in the sign of Aries doesn't love it there because you have to restrain yourself a bit, right? You're restructuring yourself, your dreams, your goals. And with Neptune there, it can dissolve your current dreams if they aren't achievable so that you then pursue what is, right? So it depends on how this energy is combining for you, right? Saturn brings you structure. It can bring restriction. So if you are not following your dreams or a dream that's achievable, then it's time to make a big change. So again, everybody's journey is personal. How this shows up for you can be very different, but we still have this conflict, right, between these two big benefic and malefic planets, which are at war, right, which of course we've been seeing. But this is starting to fade just a little bit as Jupiter starts to move on. But today, the Sun specifically is more exact in its square to Neptune. So this is the end of an illusion of some kind in the world, in your own life. And it's time to see reality. It's time to see the truth. So as usual, the energy is showing up in a big way as we kick off this week. I can't wait to hear the stories, and I'll keep you posted on anything that's going on in my life that is earth-shaking. All right, let's move to Tuesday. On Tuesday, the 24th, is when we see the full power of Jupiter as it connects with the Sun. So we hear it all the time, right? Jupiter loves being in the sign of Cancer. And when it connects with the Sun, there can be a blessing in your life. Now, especially if you have planets around the 3 degrees, right? I would do 0 to 5, right? I like to keep the orbs pretty tight for you to notice whatever this is. But of course, right, as they're coming together, they're still in that in conjunct energy to Pluto. So this is an unusual blessing, right? This is something unexpected, information that comes to you from unexpected places, for instance. It's all going to depend probably on what your yod work was, because while it's still in focus, we're starting to see Mars move on and, break down the connection as far as this energy goes. But whatever house you have this conversation happening in, this is the beginning, right? So this is the precursor to the new moon. This is something showing up and inviting you to grow, to expand, to start something new. So you may get a preview of what the new moon is going to look like, because of course that's tomorrow at this time. And again, like I said, it's something weird. It's something unusual. There's something about home and family and where you live, your emotional security that comes to you in an indirect way. And it could be an awkward way, it could be uncomfortable. What changes is the result of, death, rebirth, transformation. This could be something that happens to a friend of yours that is unexpected, and then they need to come stay with you for some time, for instance, right? It's like, doesn't impact you directly, but what impacted them then affects you. So it can be a very interesting tale, and that is what we will see here as we move into Tuesday. The other thing we'll see, also creating change, is the moon still in the sign of Gemini. And last week what we saw was the sun in Gemini, and it was squaring the nodes. Well, now the nodes have moved on a little bit. They were sitting at 22 degrees when the sun was squaring them. Now it's the moon sitting in Gemini and squaring. So this, again, is another emotional shift and a change that is fated, right? The nodes are fated teachers. I think of the nodes as the lessons, right? The North Node, where we're headed. South Node, what we're letting go of. This North Node in Pisces is dreamy. So something, again, about involving home and family. What we define as home and family is changing in some way. So I have some ideas, but we will see how this shows up for us as a collective. Will there be challenges to what we consider a family? Lord knows we don't need any more things going on out there that shake things up and change the status quo, but it's possible at this time as well. All right, so that is Tuesday. So now let us move ahead to the new moon, and I'm going to move us back for simplicity's sake and show you what this new moon is going to look like. All right, so we will see. This is close enough. Of course, every new moon, right, means the moon is blank. It's a blank slate. Emotionally, we have a clean slate. We can start over somewhere in our life, and we can set intentions for that newness that we want to align with at this time. Making this opportunity even bigger is the fact, of course, that this new beginning is connected to Jupiter and inspired, fired up by Mars in the sign of Virgo. So there's a huge opportunity for some of you, and you do not want to miss it. This is the chance you've been waiting for, this chance to break free, to make a big change in direction in your life, in pursuing your dreams. Will it happen exactly on this day? Not necessarily, but over these next 2 weeks, as we go from this new moon in Cancer to the next full moon, these 2 weeks are the most potent, where this dream of yours can come to reality, right? So getting in touch with your feelings, starting a family, growing your family, getting into a bigger home. These are all possibilities because of those themes about Cancer, right? And when we get this combined with Mars, slowly taking the steps to achieve your dream, like moving to the country, right? Because this is earthy Virgo energy, which is, all about being connected to the earth, living somewhere that's more earthy, like maybe the desert, right? Because it's more just ground instead of the trees everywhere. But there is definitely something motivating you as far as earth energy goes. So it's a great time to get out and get connected to the earth. And in fact, when you're combining earth with water, right? This is water that nourishes the earth that will help you achieve your dreams. So when I'm working with people on new moon intentions, I'm going to recommend that you write out your intentions, of course, always, and don't just type them. You need to write them out. They will be more powerful when you hand to God on the paper. And then you want to plant these in the earth because of that Mars energy. And then you want to pour water over them. So you really want to plant the seeds of where you want this new beginning to happen. And then you want to give it what it needs, water, to grow. And then I can't wait to hear how these new moon intentions show up for you. So talking about all of those connections, and of course the ruler of this new moon is the moon, and of course that means it's at home in its sign, Cancer. So this is a very emotional experience for the collective. With Jupiter in the sign of Cancer, of course, our emotional responses are bigger right now. We feel things more intensely because Jupiter's expanding on the feelings. If you're intuitive, if you're a Cancer sign, then your intuition should be on the mark right now, and it will be for the next year. And you have this moving forward momentum with Jupiter all the way through until I think it's October before it will start to slow down and get ready to retrograde. So we have a lot of forward momentum here. And as Jupiter keeps moving forward, this square back to that Jupiter-Neptune energy is getting less and less. Now, of course, Jupiter and Saturn are big planets. Saturn has the big rings. So their connection continues, but the intensity of the connection, it will start to dissipate just a bit. We're still in it for a bit, but I felt as I was writing this, like some kind of pressure was lifted at the time of this new moon that then makes the conflict less. So let's hope that that's true because I know a lot of you are done with it. It's been a bit overwhelming. So I don't blame you for that. All right. Another piece of positive energy at the time of this new moon, which especially is favoring women for some reason, right? Women in politics, women in general, but it is Venus, which is of course strong in her home sign of Taurus, that's also speaking in harmony with the nodes, right? The North Node and the South Node. So there is this ability for women with a large amount of money, right, to be making a difference, right? Could be an announcement of a woman who has a lot of money who is doing something to favor foreign countries, right? Faraway places, this Pisces energy, countries that are overseas, right? There is just this ability for something to change as far as your financial resources as an individual when we see Venus speaking in harmony with the nodes of fate. So again, these are big, huge opportunities that are coming your way right now that you want to take advantage of. And then the last thing that's going to continue, we'll talk about it as we go along, is still this mini triangle of support as these outer planets, Pluto, Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus, almost done with its time here. It moves on the 7th of July. It's going to be a big change. They're working behind the scenes still. So even though you may not see something physically changing yet in your world, collectively things are going on behind the scenes, beneath the surface, in support of creating powerful changes for us as a society. And when do we change? Well, when we've seen enough of what we don't like that we finally have to stand up and make big changes. All right. So as usual, let's do the breakdown of this, right? We're going to talk about where this new beginning is happening for you. And I want you to think about where the Mars energy is for you as an opportunity for you to take action in that area to support yourself with this new beginning. Now, to help you even more, make sure you go out again to my website, maraleeburnett.com, and check out this new moon article, because I always, put some extra little tidbits in there too that I may not cover in these videos. So you always want to have both. So you have well-rounded, even the monthly, right? I talk about this so many different ways. I try not to miss anything. So check all those things out. And with these videos and those articles, you should be really prepared for a big, huge shift and change. So with that being said, let's talk about this from the sign of Aries, as we always get started with the first sign of the zodiac. So Aries, this is happening for you in your fourth house of home and family. So this is a chance to do all those things that I already talked about. Grow your family, grow your home. And the fourth house is also your physical body home, right? It's the moon, what we need to feel safe and secure. And there's something about our emotions that maybe we have to make a big change. Maybe we have to move away from your family in order to gain independence at this time. So that Mars energy for you, well, that's going to be in your sixth house. So this is about you maybe needing to get active. This could be about you needing a job, right? So in order to grow your home and family, you've got to do something to change what you've been doing as a part of your day-to-day life. All right? Keep me posted, Aries. Then we have Taurus. So Taurus, for you, this is a new beginning involving your third house. Now, the third house is the place where we belong in our community. It can be the extended family members that make up our community. It can be learning something new because of this third house connection to teaching. It also could be something about traveling. It could be a new vehicle, because again, this is happening in your third house, which can be transportation. It's all about movement and local, close by travel versus the ninth house, which is far away in foreign countries, right? So there's a new opportunity for you to find a connection in your local community. There could be a move for you too, right? Because of the energy of the moon in your third house. You wouldn't be moving far outside of your current community, but you might be making a move within it. Now, where do you get the support to do that? Well, it comes from your fifth house, and the fifth house can have something to do with your children. So maybe you have a child that's moving out, which of course would be changing what your community looks like, or a child could be moving back home, right? This is also the house that rules lovers. So is there somebody moving in? Does that feel like a blessing for you? That's a big possibility for you as well. And of course, if a lover moved in, that would expand your home and who lives there. Just a few ideas of what could happen. And of course, you could be having a child, and that of course would also expand your family. All right, Taurus, keep me posted. And then we have Gemini. So Gemini, for you, this Cancer energy is in your second house of the money that you make. So there can be new responsibility in the job that you have. Your job may be growing and expanding. The responsibilities that you have within your job are growing and expanding. Or the money that you make, obviously, is growing and expanding, is the best way for this to show up for you. Or bigger job, right? So, and of course, with a bigger job and bigger responsibility becomes bigger salaries. So that's really good for you. And then your support for this new beginning with that Mars energy is going to be happening here in your fourth house of home and family. So maybe, again, in order to take on this big new responsibility within the work that you do, you may have to make a big move. might have to make a big movement that's on the ground, right? So maybe this is you having to drive to move versus a faraway location or relocation. It would be close enough to drive, but there is a move that's potentially involved in you getting this new job and responsibility, Geminis. Keep you posted. All right. And then, of course, we have you, Cancers. And this is your new moon, right? This is a big new beginning for you. How do you want others to see you? Do you want to get out of your shell? Do you want to stop being so hidden and at home, right? This is a big challenge for you because, of course, you've got that square to Saturn and Neptune, and you've got this supporting energy with Mars in your third house. So this may be you needing to use your voice, right? To speak up in order for people to see you differently, right? Your leadership would become bigger and more noticeable because of the fact that Jupiter is expanding your first house. Now, Cancers, you'd want to go back to 2013, this summer of 2013 to 2014, and think about your physical body during that time too, because your presence is bigger. And if you don't allow the shift and the change, where you can get bigger is literally on your physical body instead of getting big in doing what you're doing. So take a close look at what you were doing as far as your body and your health in 2013 and 2014 to make sure you're expanding not in that way. But the good news is with Mars in your third house, that's going to get you moving. So there's something about moving and yourself that are working together, which says to me, you're about to kick off in a really healthy phase for you. And getting out in your community and meeting people is also going to feel really good to you at this time. All right. Now, all of you can appreciate that. We can all move and enjoy a better, healthy lifestyle. But let's move on and look at the sign of Leo. All right, Leo, this is a new beginning for you that happens in your 12th house. So the 12th house is things that are hidden, unseen. It's like spirituality, right? Music, creativity. And it's about being able to just be in the flow, right? All the North Node things that we're working on, for you, those become more important at the time of this new moon. Now, it could also be a time where you join some kind of a large organization because of the fact that this is a new beginning in the 12th house for you. So that would bode well if you're looking for work, but it would be a company where you have to be able to make a really good emotional connection to the work that you're doing for you to even consider doing it. And Jupiter's the teacher, right? So if there's a teaching role that is speaking to you, then that may come to fruition at this time, especially because that Mars energy that's left your sign now is now moving into the second house, which is all about the money that you make. So there's another instance, right, of synchronicity, right, with Mars being very active in the second house of the money you make, which could be there for the next 6 weeks. That means there is a potential for a big growth opportunity if it's work that you're looking for. Now, if it's spiritual work that you want to do, then this is motivating you to do that at this time as well. All right, let's move on to you, Virgos. So Virgo, of course, you've now got the South Node in your sign. Now you have Mars in your sign. You're feeling very active in especially these next 6 weeks. And this new beginning for you is in your 11th house of your friends and networking groups. So they may be growing at this time. You may be meeting a new mentor at this time. And this is a great time to launch something as far as being internet based, right? Because the 11th house is the connections and then the internet. So your presence, if you're already on like social media, can grow and expand at this time as well. And because of the fact that you have this in your first house, it's what you do, right? Mars is motivating you. And the South Node is helping you release any blocks to needing to be perfect before you allow yourself to launch your channel, for instance. You got to let that go, and you got to just get out there and start doing it. Start learning as you go and make those connections that will help you grow whatever it is that you are doing and whatever you are putting out there at this time. But you should feel very motivated with Mars in your sign to get going. And so do it, Virgo. Let me know what you come up with. All right. And then we have Libras. And Libra, for you, this is happening in your 10th house. So this is a new beginning that has to do with your status, your reputation, your career. This could have to do with your marriage, right? Whatever you're most known for at this time, it's getting a reboot, right? So what do you want to be known for? And does that status have something to do with your home or your family's reputation? So this, again, could be if a family home, right, is something that is what you are known for. Then there's something about that that could be very rewarding for you at this time, right? So you could be selling a family home, and this Jupiter blessing would come to you in a financial way because of this alignment for you. Now, with this from your 12th house perspective, with Mars in your 12th house, well, that is something involving a large institution that is helping you as far as your career goes, right? So there could be someone within a large institution that reaches out to you to create a new career opportunity for you. So it's a very big deal. Now, keep me posted, Libras, because I'm very curious which way this goes for you. All right. And then we have Scorpios. So Scorpios, this is happening for you in your 9th house. So the 9th house is everything to do with foreign people, foreign places, foreign countries, and it's all about growth and expansion. Of course, this is this Jupiter house. It also can be a time where you're connecting with some kind of a spiritual leader, guru of some kind that, challenges you to grow. And of course, you're not afraid of connecting with the things that are a little bit of taboo and forbidden in order to experience this big opportunity in some way for you. And with that Mars energy, which is one of your rulers, right, in this 11th house for you, then there's something about your friend groups that are helping motivate you to go through this big growth and this big rebirth energy cycle. So don't shy away from your friends right now. You, again, are someone that likes to be a little bit reclusive, like those Cancers. But it's time to get out there. It's time to connect with other people, because it's through your friends and those other people that this new big opportunity will show up for you. So make sure you let yourself go big, Scorpios. I think you'll really be surprised at the outcome. All right. And then Sagittarius. This is happening in your 8th house. So again, all that energy about rebirth, transformation. This is also about your intimate relationships and partnerships, and it's money and resources that come to us from other people and other places, not money that we directly create for ourselves, like the 2nd house. The 8th house could also have to do with your partner's money. So there is a new beginning that is associated with home and family. So maybe your partner has some kind of an inheritance, right? And then, of course, that would benefit you as well. So that feels really good. Now, that Mars energy for you, that is motivating you here in your 10th house of career. So the other way that this could show up for you is that this could be benefiting you as far as like some kind of a bonus, like, right? Not just your direct salary, but some other kind of income opportunity that does come to you through your employer, but not something that you directly created for yourself. And of course, this also still speaks to our spouse because the 10th house can be about our marriage and our marriage partner. So there's something that looks like this big opportunity that will benefit you and has ties to, of course, family themes, home themes. Maybe you get some extra money that allows you to move, right? Because your family's expanding. All right, Sagittarius says, keep me posted. Up next, we have Capricorn. And Capricorn, this is a new beginning in your 7th house, which can rule your marriage. It could be a fresh new start in your marriage. This could be you getting married to somebody that is caring and nurturing and has a lot of money, right? They want to spoil you. Of course, that Cancer energy is exactly opposite of what you're used to. But that's what you need, right? This balance of that emotional, caring, nurturing person to offset your hardworking, strict self, right? So there is, again, either a new beginning in your marriage, a new relationship that begins that could lead to marriage, or some kind of a new business commitment that begins for you as well. Now, this Mars energy for you is going to be in your 9th house of growth and expansion and higher learning. So you could also consider at this time going back to school. Maybe it's because you have this spouse that's very supportive and caring and nurturing about your needs that they allow you to quit work while you pursue a higher education of some kind. Or maybe the person that you're marrying is overseas or from another country. All right. Let me know, Capricorns. And next we have Aquarius. So Aquarius, this for you is happening in your 6th house of the work that you do. And of course, you've got Pluto in there as well. And you may have been called to a mission involving your job that is creating a lot of change because of the fact that this is Pluto. And it may have you going back to something you were doing in the past because of the fact that Pluto is retrograde. But in your 6th house, right, a new beginning involving this Cancerian energy could be, again, making a move that changes where you're living. And where you live is much bigger than where you're currently living now in some way. So big changes coming that involve the work you do. If it's not work, it could involve your health, right? Have you been transforming your health in some way with the help of Pluto? Well, maybe you're about to take that work to the next level because of this influence from this Jupiter and new moon combination. Now, this Mars energy that is helping get you moving and getting you motivated, well, that's happening in your 8th house. So there could be some financial resources coming your way, like a bonus for taking on this commitment that increases your salary as you are rewarded for making this big change. All right. Let me know, Aquariuses. And last but never least is our Pisces. And Pisces, this is a new beginning for you involving your 5th house. So it could very well involve children because of the fact we're talking about home and family. And this could be you expanding your home and family, or, as I said, 5th house is things that involve our romantic life, things that we love, things that we're passionate about. Your hobby could be expanding and you do it from home. So maybe it's something you've just been doing as a little bit of a side gig, but it's going to go big now. Again, you could add more children to your family. Maybe you want to be a foster parent. Then you'd have the opportunity to do that at this time. Now, you also have this supporting energy from Mars in the 7th house of your spouse. So there is something that this new beginning in the 5th house has to involve your spouse from the 7th house. So again, you would have a partner who is supporting you pursuing your dreams, and their support helps you dream even bigger as a result of that. And then for some of you, if you meet somebody new at this time, because the 5th house is romance and the 7th house is marriage, well, it could go all the way. All right, that's everybody. So keep in mind, right, that we still have the influence, not of the full yod, right, but of that Pluto energy also here in the sign of Aquarius. So there is still something unique and interesting and strange and unexpected that is creating this big, huge change and transformation involving home and family and your intuition and your feelings. So I cannot wait to hear your stories, and I can't wait to see my own. So set your intentions, right? To go big. To go big in an unusual way, but of course you want it to be a happy and unusual way. So just be careful with how you set those intentions. But there should be, for some of you out there, huge shifts, life-changing new paths that you never expected. But when you pursue your dreams, they're going to go big, really big at this time. Okay, so there we go. That's going to be exciting new moon. Like I said, I really felt energetically the energy shifted when we got to this new moon. So I'm really hopeful that we're going to feel a little bit more lightness and actually start to feel the beneficial effects of Jupiter in the sign of Cancer very soon. Okay, let's move to Thursday. And on Thursday, we are still seeing a connection with that Mars that's motivating us, our success, right? As it speaks in harmony, in a sextile, still with the sun. Sun's moving fast past Jupiter, but of course, like I said, Jupiter has a big influence for quite a while. And so this is still going to keep you motivated, right? Sometimes we get this big dream and we start pursuing it and we're like, "Ugh." Well, this is going to keep you going for a bit to make sure you stick with this. And so is Venus with the nodes, right? Again, this is like the financial support or the friend support that you need to keep going after your dream, to be willing to let go of what's comfortable, South Node in Virgo, what I have control over and I know every outcome, to what's a dream of yours, right? This person, this woman is going to help you achieve and go after your dreams. So the other thing that's speaking in harmony with the nodes is going to be this moon in Cancer. So it's going to be speaking in harmony also with the nodes. So there's something really beautiful with this follow-up to this new moon that is still with us on Thursday. So it can be almost a little too good. So I always say when things feel too good, don't overdo it, right? We can just feel like anything's possible. So it doesn't mean take big crazy risks, right? We still have to stay a bit grounded with Mars in Virgo and Venus in Taurus, both earth signs. But there's something that feels really good about this energy on Thursday. So I hope something beautiful and magical is showing up for you at this time. The other thing that we'll see today is this Mercury in Cancer is going to move into the sign of Leo. So then instead of just the emotional reactions to everything, now when Mercury gets into the sign of Leo, our speech, right, gets a lot more powerful, right? This is young leaders that are standing up and speaking out, and they'll be speaking out for a little while because of that influence of Mercury going into the sign of Leo. So today, as it will enter and it'll be at 0 degrees, there's like a reset as far as the things that we love, right? Leo, things that we're passionate about, and being able to communicate what we're passionate about and to share that with other people. So we'll see that go on for the next 3 weeks as we have Mercury go through the sign of Leo. Then, speaking of Mercury, on this Friday, we see Mercury speaking in harmony with Saturn and Neptune. So this is your ability, like I said. So now you've realized your dream, and now you can communicate what that dream is with other people. And like-minded people will come together to share and realize a dream. But you'll do it in a structured way, right? The Saturn has the plan and the rules that you need to follow in order to achieve this dream of yours. So there's maybe some announcements involving rules as we get to Friday, June 27th as well. Then we also, of course, with the influence of Neptune, can get very expressive as a result of the combination of that with this Mercury energy. And of course, we've got the moon there. So this is, again, really feel good. Emotions are running high. Just have to watch how certain leaders, right, are speaking up against the groups, right? The communities that are coming together, because there can still be some clashes that we'll see over the next few days as Mercury is going to be opposing that Pluto in Aquarius energy. So it's all still tied to that yod, that mission. There is a challenge to being able to complete your mission, but of course you have to keep going. You can't give up. It's your mission. Like, what if the Fool in the tarot had given up? We'd never know the whole tarot story. Don't let that be you. All right. And then we are going to finish off Saturday, that opposition between Mercury and Pluto. So it will be even more intense. There can be more wars of words going on Saturday. But again, the goal always is to meet in the middle. What does Leo, the leader, the lion, the head of the pride, want? And what does the pride want, right? So how do you meet in the middle and make sure both people are happy in this equation? All right, that is Saturday. What else do I want to see? Nope, I think that's it. And then we're going to finish off on Sunday. And here on Sunday, we're going to see that exact conflict between Mercury and Pluto. So we can keep escalating it, right? Keep digging our heels in and just fight. Or we can change, right? And this moon, as it ends its time in Leo, has this difficult conversation with Uranus. It's ticking down on its time here in Taurus. And so there's this opportunity to break free from something that no longer aligns with your heart and what you're passionate about. And so there could be change in leadership on this day that's shocking and surprises us. So just be aware and watch out for that. Mercury's still being supported, right, with Saturn and Neptune. So just keep believing in your dream and keep pursuing it and keep coming up with innovative solutions to whatever that dream will be for you. All right. And then as the day progresses, you're going to see, and I'm just going to show it to you here so you can actually see it show up. All right. Let's go there. So then the moon, as it moves into Virgo, is going to be, in conjunct with that Saturn and that Neptune energy. So there is still something that we're working through. And the moon, as it moves, is even going to do that in conjunct again with Pluto. So whatever this big need for transformation and change is, we keep activating the Pluto and Aquarius energy in weird ways. So the change that's coming isn't what we expect and isn't a direct path to how it finally all resolves itself. But the resolution is coming. It's what we've been working on for the last couple of weeks. We're about to see it all come to fruition in some way. So especially where you have this Pluto at 3 degrees, whatever house that is, it's time for the big changes to happen. All right. And then we'll move into next week. And what I love about next week for us is the quiet, right? We're going to finish off the month of June next week, unbelievably, and move into July. So that's incredible all on its own, as we're literally at the halfway mark of this year. And I, for one, cannot believe how quickly that is gone. We're going to start seeing, right? All the Christmas in July stuff is coming out. Dear Lord, it's going so quickly. The other shift that we'll see in the next week is Venus will end her time in Taurus. She'll move into the sign of Gemini. And so we'll be starting to think about changing our mind about things a lot, because Venus is very back and forth when she's in the sign of Gemini. And of course, we'll have the 4th of July, which could be very interesting here in America. And we'll see another outer planet, which will be Neptune, begin its retrograde. But other than those things, it's a fairly calm week ahead. So we'll dig into it a little bit more. Of course, we'll have a little bit more idea of what's been going on, because of course I record these early. So I don't have anything about any new changes in the prior week as I record this. So we'll have more to talk about next week based on all the shifts and changes that are going to go on between these last 2 weeks and now. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for sharing your stories with me. I literally love hearing what's going on in your life. So keep on making those comments on any of my channels. And I always respond. So thanks for keeping me your mind, right? When you're going through changes and challenges and good things, right? I'd love to hear all of it. All right, guys. Thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for liking, commenting, sharing my work with somebody that you think will benefit from knowing what's ahead, which is a lot. All right, guys. Thanks again. And I will talk with you next week. Take care.